No matter how the cachet of the WNBA elevates, remember, it could have been even better. You messed it up.
If Caitlin Clark had chosen a European offer, the WNBA might have undergone a permanent transformation.
I am never going to financially recover from that.
It looks like Caitlin Clark will soon be moving to Europe. The WNBA is rushing as a result. Maybe you ought to have considered being a little more civil to your enormous celebrity today. The WNBA will suffer greatly as a result of Caitlin. And without CC, who would watch?
I know she will do her best. I know she's talented, but she's not strong enough and she doesn't have enough experience right now to compete at...
Stop talking about stuff like that since you are inexperienced and won't manage the WNBA. The WNBA was in ruins after Caitlin blasted her way past broken records, as if there were no future after everything she had to go through during the season.
Sense about things that Caitlin was doing wrong when, in my personal opinion, she was doing nothing but going out there and playing great basketball every night and ignoring the hate that was coming to her from all sides, not only.
Caitlin was forced to heed the counsel of these analysts. The ongoing hostility towards her is enough, and she needs a new beginning in a league that genuinely values its best players and prevents them from being singled out.
What the NBA became. Even when Jordan was ascending and the league clearly saw that that was the dude, and Nike was marketing the living hell out of Michael Jordan. I want to be like Mike. It was still burn.
Caitlin Clark has reportedly been offered an amazing contract to play in Europe. There is more to the story, even if it appears that she is prepared to accept. Caitlin Clark has encountered numerous difficulties in the WNBA, despite the widespread recognition, admiration, and indisputable influence she has had on the sport. From the absence of appropriate support on the court to the league's incapacity to sufficiently safeguard its best players. These difficulties have led to one of the most startling professional choices we've ever witnessed. She has finally had enough of the WNBA's treatment of her, and she is ultimately choosing to quit the league after facing innumerable frustrations. Her choice to leave the league and relocate to Europe might have a significant impact on the WNBA. Let's be honest, the WNBA hasn't always treated Caitlin Clark with the dignity or respect that a player of her caliber merits. It's obvious that Clark has had enough, whether it's the league's apparent lack of concern, the players' constant harassment, or the lack of safety on the court. We have repeatedly witnessed rival players go overboard with aggressive and occasionally dangerous play while protecting Clark, getting away with utilizing excessive aggression. It appears as though the league has permitted these strategies to persist unchallenged.
Hold on, Stephen A.
We're not saying we
No, Andrea, I'm not going to let you do that.
Go ahead,
Andrea, I'm not going to let you make it seem like Caitlin Clark was averaging 5 points a game. At the time, she was still averaging 16 points a game, which was more than a lot of other guards that made the team. So don't do that. Don't make it seem like she was averaging 5 points and this was like a handout.
No, it wasn't a handout.
Look at her numbers. Look at her numbers comparable to the other guards that were on the team. That's all.
Warren. One may even contend that the WNBA has allowed this conduct to persist because they are aware of how Clark's appearance on the floor attracts attention and increases viewing. Ultimately, a little drama sparks conversation. However, the lack of protection has gone too far for Caitlin. Though little to nothing has changed, fans have taken notice of the outcry on social media platforms from her supporters who have been demanding more respect, justice, and protection for their favorite athlete. It seems as though the league didn't care enough to make the necessary changes, and Clark feels abandoned.
Watching women's basketball right now, it all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to...
Additionally, Caitlin Clark is finally listening to her fans. She has had enough of the league's indifference after experiencing harassment and unfair treatment season after season, and she has made the decision to take charge of her career by quitting the WNBA. Now let's discuss the consequences. Clark hopes for a new chapter where her exceptional talent, passion, and impact on the game will be recognized as they have long been. Because Caitlin Clark was a major attraction for the league, Everyone watched her whenever she was on the floor, whether they were casual viewers or die-hard basketball fanatics. There's no need to sugarcoat the fact that a major drop in the WNBA is imminent. And the reason for this is that they failed to recognize Caitlin Clark's critical role in the league's success. The WNBA would instantly suffer financially and in terms of viewership without Clark. Caitlin Clark.
That she was getting all of that, yet all of these eyeballs were coming to the league because of her. They were turning, the Indiana Fever was turning away.
The WNBA now faces the daunting challenge of bridging the gap created by her exit. Although the league does have other gifted players, like as DJ Carrington and Angel Reed, let's be honest, they lack Clark's strength and personality. This isn't meant to downplay their ability. They are both outstanding athletes. However, Caitlin Clark was functioning at an entirely different level. She was more than a mere athlete. She was a force, and the WNBA wasn't the only attraction. Her competitive spirit and fearless shooting skill to dominate games drew them in, making her an athlete to watch. The WNBA is just now realizing the full extent of the Caitlin Clark effect. If Clark left, millions of dollars would be lost in sponsorships, TV partnerships, ticket sales, revenue, and merchandise sales. Even worse, all of it could have been avoided. The league, in their capacity as spokesperson, had every opportunity to shield Caitlin from harm on the court and give her the assistance she needed, but they were unable to do so.
FA viewership, which is up 400% to 40%. Between ticket sales, which is up 93% to 16%. Between regular game viewership, which is up 180% to 20%. What Caitlin Clark has done is grown the WNBA exponentially. She did in 5 weeks what would have taken 5 years. And as it pertains to draft viewership, she did in...
Since the WNBA let problems to grow and now has to pay for them, Caitlin's exit marks a turning point that might have disastrous effects for the league's future. The amount they lost will shortly be revealed to the league. Several sources claim that Caitlin Clark has been guaranteed a contract in Europe that is far greater than any WNBA offer in the Euro League, where players are pampered like kings and queens. The choice to relocate overseas was effectively made for Caitlin, who is receiving a once-in-a-lifetime chance. There may be a team there, and she will not only make a lot more money, but also have more time to rest, recuperate, and perform at her peak since she won't be playing as much. In addition to offering Caitlin a contract, Europe is giving her the opportunity to play for the entire league. As thousands of spectators applaud loudly as the lights go down, Caitlin goes up to take a deep three, and the atmosphere in those crowded arenas is evident. This time, though, things are different. Watching a basketball game isn't the only reason the fans are there. They're supporting her. The Euro League understands this, and is ready to use her as their brand ambassador, treating her like the international celebrity she is. How does it feel? Are you concerned? As Caitlin Clark prepares to embark on a new chapter of greatness, Europe is prepared to ensure that she shines brighter than ever. However, she is not alone in achieving noteworthy progress. Giving Caitlin a new platform to govern isn't the only goal. Making her the biggest basketball star in the world, with stadiums packed with adoring fans who applaud and respect every move she makes, is another goal. In pursuit of better possibilities abroad, other WNBA players are beginning to go the same route. For instance, it has been claimed that during their off-season, Melissa Smith and Kelsey Mitchell will play in China, while Caitlin will visit Europe. In terms of income and experience quality, the WNBA's pay scale just cannot match those of other foreign leagues. Players are gradually following this trend, as they come to understand that playing abroad offers better treatment overall in addition to much larger money. When everything is put together, you need a star, and she is when you compare the schedule's compensation and player care offered elsewhere. Players like Caitlin, Kelsey, and Melissa are experiencing the benefits of fewer games, more rest, and greater salaries, making the option to play internationally practically a no-brainer. It's simple to see why more sportsmen are going down this route. As all of this is happening, Jason Whitlock thinks Caitlin need to lead an unmatched league in which the top players face off against one another outside of the WNBA. As a result, athletes like Alyssa Smith and Kelsey Mitchell would no longer have to fly overseas to get paid. They can earn their money in America instead. Players will have better opportunities and be able to capitalize on the growth of quality in the women's game thanks to an unmatched league consisting of talented players. Some amazing opportunities are emerging. They will not, however, be paid what they are due. Rather, they will need to rely on sponsorships to make their money. However, this unique league concept brings a whole new range of perspectives to Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. This change ought to be a huge wake-up call for women's basketball. In addition to Caitlin Clark, the league faces a significant risk of losing other elite players. The WNBA may have to deal with a huge departure of talent if they don't take action and reconsider how they pay and handle their athletes. It is evident that players are no longer forced to accept fewer victories. The WNBA needs to immediately reassess its objectives because international leagues are willing to offer them so much more if they hope to avoid an even bigger talent drain in the future. Clark seemed to be the answer to a lot of problems this season, but a lot of players, coaches, and members of the media were also portraying her as the issue. She was always doing too much. She was never able to say enough. The problem was her fans. Fans of Fever were it's confusing that the WNBA effectively let Caitlin Clark to leave without a fight. This is arguably the most startling aspect of the whole circumstance. There was nothing to show how valuable she was to the league. No great gesture, no huge offer. Clark was a once-in-a-generation talent with the potential to be the biggest star in American sports, but the WNBA led her to elude them. For a league that has been putting a lot of effort into expanding its fan base and competing on a bigger scale, this is a grave error. For the past year, basketball has truly taken over my life. Therefore, I think it will be beneficial for me to sort of look back on everything that has transpired. I feel like my time in college went by so quickly that I didn't even have time to think back on it. Without a doubt, the WNBA will regret this choice, which will negatively impact their bottom line. Caitlin Clark's impact was genuine, unlike any other player in recent memory. On her own, she was raising awareness of the league, drawing in new supporters, and creating buzz with her exit. The WNBA must face the harsh fact that the finest players in the world no longer choose to play there. The league had not seen such a high level of attention and enthusiasm in years, but Clark was becoming a household name. And since players get better treatment and play fewer games, other leagues are now offering better contracts. The WNBA contends that Caitlin Clark's exit has left the Premier League in women's basketball in precarious health, making them a more appealing alternative. To get over this loss, they will have to put in a lot of effort. Do you think viewers would rather watch Angel Reese make two-footed layups or Caitlin Clark shoot three-pointers from the logo and sink them? You guys are really desperate to make her so popular. She's fortunate to be in Caitlin's draft class. The basketball scene will be drastically changed by Caitlin Clark's relocation to Europe. Caitlin has a great opportunity to advance her career in a setting that will fully recognize and reward her brilliance and treat her like the superstar she is on and off the court. This is a total failure, but her game will continue to grow on a bigger stage for the WNBA. After losing one of its best players, the league will have to deal with the fallout, which will cause a sharp decline in viewership, income, and overall fan involvement. The question now is whether the WNBA can bounce back from this major setback, or if a much bigger issue is going to confront the league. In spite of superior offers and treatment overseas, the league strives to uphold the top-down tent. Furthermore, Caitlin's departure represents more than just one player leaving. Additionally, subscribe to see more videos.